Hi, this is Dr. Frank with the Church of Rational Truth. Today's Sunday lecture is going to be another one on logical fallacies, since we've done a couple on that, and we love talking about logic and rational thinking. So this week we're going to talk about the false dilemma or false dichotomy fallacy. This one's a pretty simple one, but it's one you see people fall in all the time. It's one that people make when making decisions, and they fall into it. It's one that political people do all the time when they're making an argument. And the false dilemma or false dichotomy is basically what happens when you set up someone with a binary decision that is not binary. So usually they bring up a dilemma, they bring up two parts, and they make it seem like those two parts are the only possibilities for the decision. So for example, am I going to be nice or am I going to be rich? Many people would think, okay, yeah, I've got to be nice, and that's going to cost money, blah, 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 and if I'm going to be rich, I'm going to have to be mean. But those two really aren't dichotomies. They're not mutually exclusive. You could be nice and rich, but when someone sets it up in the way that it seems like those are the only two options, they're making a false dichotomy or false dilemma. You see this with politics, where someone will raise an issue about a law. Let's say they go, well, teachers are not paid enough, and then so it's either we pay more teachers or we fire some teachers to get the budget back and pay them more. That seems superficially like those are the only two options, but in reality, there are probably infinite options. There's probably many more options that are available, but if you set it up like that, you kind of pigeonhole people into making two decisions. And what someone can do is if they want to do flawed rhetoric, or they want to do rhetoric that kind of tricks someone into their idea or way of thinking, they will make it seem like those two are the only options for the decision. You have to decide one of those, and usually if I want someone else to agree with me, I'll make it so that one of them clearly is a bad decision and the other one is better. You can do this for many, many things, where you just kind of present it as a dichotomy, and then you kind of force someone into your one side of the position because they are not going to accept the other one. But that is usually a flaw. Most of these things are more complicated, and this is kind of moving away from binary or black and white thinking. A lot of people, when they're making decisions, they set it up as the decision and the opposite, when really most decisions don't boil down to two options. Most decisions usually have more than two. They usually have the gray area in between, and then things that are completely unrelated to those two. But we have a hard time seeing that. Many times we just get blinded by a couple of simple options that seem like they're opposed, or they are incongruent, or could not be possible to do together. But in reality, we need to be open-minded. We need to see the gray area, we need to see the other options, and we need to try and stop ourselves from falling into this logical fallacy. Take a look, see if you can see it out there. There are many, many examples of this false dilemma or false dichotomy. See if you can spot them. If you start paying attention to political debates and things like that, you'll see it a ton. Another example that I saw when I was perusing was the capitalism versus communism. Well, if you're not a capitalist, you're a communist, or if you're not a communist, you're a capitalist. Well, there's lots of things in between. There's lots of other political leanings. Just because one person's not one or the other doesn't automatically put them into the other camp. So those are the kind of things that people use to make false dichotomies. Try not to do it, try not to trick people into it, try not to be tricked. And that's it for today's lecture. It's another short one because each one is kind of fairly simple. If you want to see anything else that we talk about, or anything else to be made, please let us know in the comments. Thank you so much for watching. I am Dr. Frank with the Church of Rational Truth, signing off for today. Bye-bye.